What's going on, YouTube Metal Complex here, and today I've got yet another interesting knife review slash knife overview to do with you guys. This is the Bestech Barracuda, and given Bestech's track record lately with both their premium and budget line, and my own personal experience with them, I'm really excited to talk about this knife. Before I do, real quick, I want to say again, thank you to everybody who has been liking and subscribing and commenting and just being a part of this channel. I know it's a cliche for new, YouTube channels or anybody that's a YouTube channel to be like, I never thought I'd get here, But truthfully, yeah, I mean, we don't think that we're gonna get here, We sort of start making videos and talking, and then people start subscribing, and it's a surprise, I understand it now. So thank you so much. I'm shocked to be here. This channel has seen amazing growth over the last year. It's very motivating, and I love doing this. I'm having a lot of fun, so expect lots and lots of content from me. Also, for anybody who has been subscribed for a long time, if you're enjoying my content and you want to be a part of this and support me, you can do so by following the link in the description to my Patreon, and you can support me with $1 or whatever amount you see fit. There's a bunch of tiers. It's a work in progress, but I invite you to at least go check it out. You don't have to, but if you'd at least go check it out, that would really mean the world to me. Thank you to the people who have been supporting me on Patreon. That helps out so much. It pays for things like shipping back to the pass-around group for knives like this, or back to people, generous viewers who have lent me their knives. It pays for the shipping back to them. Ideally, if my Patreon continues to grow, the plan is to actually purchase knives with that money, then review them, and then give them back to you guys in the form of a giveaway. So that would be really the goal there. If you want to be a part of it, like I said, feel free to check out my Patreon. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. This knife was provided to me directly by the manufacturer, so I appreciate that. As always, I'll try not to let that affect my review. But anyways, let's go ahead and get a measurement here. Overall length on this guy, about 8 1/4. So that's my kind of knife there. Full-size knife. From tip to scale, we're looking at about 3.75 inches of blade. Cutting edge, given that generous choil there, we're looking at about 3 inches of blade. We will address that. Let's do some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1 coming in at 8.6 inches overall. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. Very close in size to the PM2. How about up against the Ritter Hogue or Benchmade Griptilian, however you want to look at that. 8 inches overall on the Ritter Hogue, so a little bit bigger than the Ritter Hogue. And last but not least, actually, you know what? Let's do another Bestech knife. This is the Lion. You guys know I like this knife a lot. 8 inches overall on the Lion. Very comparable there in aesthetics and length. Last but not least, now the Delica coming in at 7 inches overall. So definitely not a small knife, but not a massive knife. It's a full-size knife. Give you a demo of the action here. This knife is running on bearings, has an excellent flipping action, and it is at least shake shut. Very smooth, considering the caliber of knife that this is. We'll talk about that. Let's get a weight on this guy. Overall weight, 4.66 ounces. Let's go again. 4.66 ounces. So, not the heaviest knife in the world, but certainly not super light either. It is a full-size knife. It does have full steel liners. They've been milled out a little bit, not a lot. So that sort of attributes to the heft. If you're like me, you like that heft. It adds a feeling of solidity. Some people don't. Some people really want maximum blade length to weight ratio or whatever. I'm okay with this. I really like the solid feel in my hand. Let's talk about the anatomy of this knife. What we have here is a Wharncliffe style blade that's been nicely stonewashed, made out of D2 steel, so that's excellent. And a nice little bit of cutting belly. So it's not a traditional Wharncliffe where the cutting edge is perfectly straight. It does have a little bit of belly, which I actually prefer. D2 on this blade, I'm sure you guys are wondering. Price point of this guy is $52. This is a knife that's made in China, and it's part of Bestech's budget line. They have a budget line and a premium line, as is the case with a lot of these Chinese companies nowadays. Kaiser, Artisan Cutlery. There's a whole bunch of them out there, but this is part of Bestech's budget line, and so materials that you can expect generally are D2 bearings and G10 on top of steel liners. We have a nice stone washing, really, really nice, actually fine grain stone washing, semi-reflective. That's really nice. I like that a lot. The stone washing continues up here to this upper swedge, and then the main flat is actually a satin finished with horizontal lines. You can see Bestech's logo there. On the other side, it just says D2. It doesn't say China anywhere. Thank you, Bestech. Oh my gosh. That's how that should be. I don't want to see China or Taiwan on the blade. I'm aware of it. Generally, most people are going to be aware of that when they buy it. I don't need to see it on the blade. So thank you for not putting it on there. Moving down to the scales, we do have nicely chamfered and contoured G10 scales wrapped around a show side pivot that's kind of a spanner bit, but you do have a Torx bit on the adjustment side. Moving down, this faux bolster setup is divided by this one horizontal line, and then you've got vertical lines that add a little bit of aesthetic personality to it and also provide a decent amount of traction where your hands or fingers are going to fall. There's enough traction there to say that it's got some utility to it. You unfortunately have two little tiny Torx heads that are the same size that I hate, but whatever, what are you going to do? There's only two of them on each side. A little lanyard hole that'll fit 550 in it. Like I said, full steel liners. You do have a G10 backspacer that comes all the way around to here. We'll go ahead and talk about centering since we're there. Perfect centering, which is to be expected from Bestech. Nice early solid lockup. No blade play up, down, left, or right, so that's great. The other side mirrors the front, except for, of course, the adjustment side, non-show side pivot. And then you have a simple deep carry pocket clip that really doesn't carry it all that deep, but it also isn't, I wouldn't call it, shallow either. It carries at a good depth. Pretty simple pocket clip. It's got those screws that stick up, but I find that it's in a good carry position. It creates a little bit of a hot spot, but again, that's really only going to affect people who are going to be cutting with this knife like for long periods of time. If you're just going to get this knife out and you're going to make a simple cut, and then you're going to put it away and put it back in your pocket, then yeah, it's fine. The pocket clip's not going to mess with you. It's for the most part out of the way. It's got a nice thin profile and it carries in the right spot. So that's just fine. Really, honestly, all the way around, I really like this knife. I really like the contouring. I really like the shape of the blade. I like how thin the blade is. Let's talk about that real quick. Thickness is probably about the same as the Ritter Hogue or any Benchmade Griptilian, so about 125 thousandths, which means it gets nice and thin behind the cutting edge. It's going to be great for EDC tasks. There's nothing in the cutting path, so that's awesome. You can choke up, so that's good in terms of control. And like I said, the action's great, very reliable. Nice medium detent. The flipper tab, the angle of it, and the relationship between it and the blade and the pivot is all great. So it's going to be reliable in terms of push button and your light switch. There's also nothing for your finger to land on back here. You can see Bestech is taking note of what people talk about this landing zone. Your finger lands right behind that last jimp. So you're not, fidgety folks like me who are sitting around on the couch doing this all day, every day. It's not going to tear your finger up, but you still gain the benefit of the traction on that jimping and, on the scales and up on the blade. So that's really great. I only have one nitpick about this knife, and truthfully, it is the flipper tab and the forward choil. Now, the flipper tab itself, the benefit of it being shaped like that is it's nice and shallow. So you don't have a situation like this where it sticks out super far. You can see there, how's the best way to demonstrate that? Like this. Yeah. Flipper tab on the Lion sticks out quite a bit further. Not a lot, but a little bit. If you carry stuff in the same pocket as your knife, you're going to notice that. You've got this hole in the flipper tab, which it looks nice. But truthfully, here's what I would have opted for. You only have 3 inches of cutting edge, and considering how shallow this choil is here, you really kind of, not only do you lose out on potential cutting edge, but you really risk running your finger up on that edge while you're using it if you're going to choke up. Truthfully, where I want to naturally choke up is really just about right here. So what that tells me is that I could have gained another 1/4 inch of cutting edge there, and this whole choil could have been moved back. So if it were me, I mean, I'm not a knife designer or knife maker, so I mean, I probably don't know what I'm talking about. But if it were me, I would have moved this choil back, made it a little bit deeper, cut that right in, probably through the center of that flipper tab. It could, it could remain that shallow, but really that's all the more flipper tab you need. You could leave a little hole there if you wanted to, or make it solid, but just move everything back a little bit, and you gain that cutting edge. On an 8 1/4 inch knife, only having 3 inches of cutting edge is kind of. And I know some of you are going to be really quick to point out, like, dude, you like Hinderer knives, and those have like 3 to 3 1/4 inch cutting edge, and they're 8 1/4 inches overall. And you're right, I'm biased towards Hinderer knives, but truthfully, that's what I want there. It just seems unnecessary to have that weird shallow choil and this choke up position that doesn't really feel natural and is kind of risky. We just need to move that back a little bit, and I think would be good there. Just make it a little bit deeper. But other than that, we've got an obvious winner here. You have D2 in a blade shape that's very utilitarian, that's finished well, running on bearings with contour G10 scales that have some texturing. The blade is centered. The blade locks up solid. Fit and finish is great. Deployment is definitely reliable. Everything is great. And you've got a $52 price point. D2 steel, if I didn't mention that. I probably did. On top of that, of course, you have your typical color choices of black, OD green, and tan. But on top of that, we also have a couple of different blade finishes. You have this stonewash finish, which is nice. That's what I'd opt for. In fact, this setup is exactly what I'd opt for. It's what I usually do because I'm boring. But you can get a black washed two-tone blade. So this down here, the bevel leading towards the cutting edge is black washed, and then up here the flats are satin. So there are actually 6 different configurations of this knife. That is a win for Bestech. Absolutely. This knife is 100% recommendable by me at $52. As usual with knives like this, you probably at some point will be able to find them on eBay for $45 or Amazon. I don't know, whatever. So, this knife is probably anywhere from $45 to $52. But at that price point, it's great. It's perfect for people who are like, I want a nice, dependable folding knife that's made out of good enough materials to justify using in EDC circumstances and outdoor activities, things like that, but that won't crush my soul if I lose it or break it. Bestech has nailed that, and I expect them to keep nailing it. They have a lot of models that I have not checked out yet that I'm really tempted to check out just for myself. And I think the Barracuda is a win. Minor nitpicks aside, there are, a couple of things I would fix if I had the option to. But truthfully, if you like the look of this knife and you like what I'm saying and you can justify the $52, oh yeah, 100% recommendable all day. This will go on my playlist of most recommended knives that have come through my hands, on my channel. So, anyways, though, guys, that is truthfully about all I can say about this wonderful little knife. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check that stuff out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.